Hi, and welcome to episode 77 of the Dinner Sisters podcast. We're two sisters taking on the nightly challenge of dinner. I'm Kate Schultz, living and working in Rhode Island. I'm a passionate cook and recipe collector, always thinking about my next meal.
And I'm Betsy Wallace. I live, work, and raise a family in Atlanta, Georgia, and I love dinner time, but I can always use help planning and cooking for my family of 5.
Our goal with this podcast, we want to cook a little better, learn a little bit about food, and most importantly, figure out what the heck to have for dinner. And here's how this works. Like every week, we have 3 recipes that we cooked and reviewed that we found on popular food blogs, internet chefs, like anywhere that I could scrounge up a recipe. That's what we used. And we have all these recipes, the tips, our smorgasbord on our website at dinnersisters.com. You can also get all this stuff sent directly to your inbox by subscribing to our newsletter. And that you can do by going to our website or our Facebook page. So if you're the kind of person that likes to get these things in advance, that's the thing to do.
Cool. All right. So Kate, let's dive in here. This week's recipes were a sheet pan taco bake by the Food Network. I was like out of the box for you. I was so surprised. Yeah.
I really, good times.
Curry coconut milk roast chicken thighs by White on Rice Couple and turkey spinach.
A little more on brand.
Yeah, a little more on brand. And turkey spinach sliders from Epicurious.
Betsy, I know that your kids have been back to school for a while now, but it is that time of year. And I felt like this was a good time of year for an episode that really embraced getting back in the classroom. Even though I haven't been teaching for years, still feel like September is like a new start. Like, we're back to stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not really doing that anymore, So I wanted to find some recipes that were fun, they were easy, but also gave us a little nutrition for our brains during this super busy time of year.
Yeah, I agree with that, Kate. And I think even if you are not going back to school necessarily, things tend to just kind of pick up a little bit in the fall. People stop taking vacations and it gets a little like things get rolling and moving and shaking here, which means most people are a little bit busier. So right. I thought this was a perfect timing for this episode. So what do we have first here? What are we cooking?
First up, so I agree, Betsy. I think this is a little bit out of my box, a little bit out of the comfort zone, but I still think it's the one that's maybe the most fun of the episode, which is a sheet pan taco bake by the Food Network. And what this is a whole bunch of hash brown potatoes layered with taco seasoned ground beef, melted cheese, and then all the taco toppings you want. So like the lettuce, the tomatoes, the black olives, sour cream, salsa, everything you want. So to make it, you basically do the whole thing, well, kind of like in the broiler and then a little bit in the saute pan. So first you brown your hash browns on a sheet pan with just a little olive oil. You toss it a couple times to even it up, and you put it in the broiler. Pull it out, push it around a little bit so it evenly browns. And then while that's happening, you brown some ground beef and then add spices like chili powder, cumin, salt, and pepper. When the potatoes are done and the meat's done, you just pile the beef on top and then sprinkle it with a good amount of cheddar cheese. Broil the cheese until it's melted and then pull it out. Add your favorite toppings. Sheet pan taco bake, kids. How did this go with the family?
Yeah, I was so surprised that you picked this. I mean, which was so funny because we had this conversation last week. We kind of talked about this, like coming back into the podcast season. And my family had said, like, maybe we should make some, like a tater tot casserole or something like that. So they were, like, delighted by this. And I thought it was kind of like, I mean, I love hash browns, so that was good. And it was almost like a sort of like a taco baked potato bar a little bit feeling, which was nice. I also thought maybe you could do shredded chicken, like a rotisserie chicken on top here, and that would take off your browning step, right?
That is a great idea.
And then I
love that.
Yeah, the only thing you're doing then is with the broiler in a sheet pan, which we all know,
I mean,
really cuts down on your stuff.
Yeah, 100%. So one of the reasons I picked this recipe is that it felt like it would be something fun, but that you could really like actually put some nutrients in for kids that are super hungry when you get home from school. That first couple weeks of school is brutal, man.
Yeah,
you know,
it is.
Like the kids are super hungry, or just like the first couple weeks in September when all of a sudden you realize that you can't drink wine spritzers on your patio every night anymore. Like, that's just tough to get over emotionally. So
it is.
It's nice to have. It's nice to have a little comfort food. And this, for some reason, like, brought me back to like being a kid, which is funny because we didn't eat hash browns very much. I don't know what brought that on. Maybe it was the taco seasoning.
I don't know, Kate, but you know what's so funny is that, like, this is the second time I feel like this has happened where you're like, those pizza bombs were so good. I thought that was going to be a kid meal, but that was really good.
So maybe I should be learning some lessons here. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's good to have, like, every once in a while, just go for something like this. I mean,
like, have
fun.
a little fun. Come on now. It's just food, right? And, you know, I have the recipe. So I, you know, only used half of a bag of hash browns, only half the ground beef. And that was fine. I mean, this is not rocket surgery here. I think y'all can kind of figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find any fresh hash browns. Could you, like, refrigerate? This recipe called for refrigerated ones.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. I definitely just used your standard frozen ones, and I kind of made it according to how it was looking, which I think you can kind of play this by ear.
Yeah, this is like, if you're comfortable using a broiler, and by comfortable I mean know where your broiler is in the oven, you'll be totally fine. This is a fun dinner. James ate it right up. He was pleasantly surprised. He's like, what's this?
Right? Are we at a football game? Like, what is this? Yeah.
So this was a high 4 out of 5 for me. It was super fun.
Yeah, I'm giving this a high 4 out of 5 too, Kate. I loved this. I thought this was super fun for this episode, and yeah, hooray. Everyone was happy with this. All right, what do we have next? What's going on next?
All right, next recipe, a bit of a right-hand turn here, like a little 90-degree turn. So it's a curry coconut milk roast chicken thighs by White on Rice Couple. And so this is another simple one, but maybe with just maybe some different flavors, right? So it's just chicken thighs that are braised in a really like fragrant yellow coconut milk curry. And to make it, you brown your bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs in a large oven-proof pan, like a Le Creuset, you know, that kind of thing. But really, anything that can go in the oven is fine. You don't need a fancy pan. So what you do, brown the chicken up, and then when it's nice and brown, pull it out, and then toss in several cloves of chopped garlic. When the garlic is fragrant, you just add some curry powder, cumin, cayenne pepper, and lime zest. You let the spices cook a bit, or, you know, bloom, and then you add in a cup of coconut milk and a cup of chicken broth. And there's a bay leaf in there. And then add the chicken back in and put the whole pan into a 400-degree oven for about 15 to 20 minutes or until the chicken is cooked through. You want it at 165. Use your meat thermometer. You just garnish it with a little cilantro. I served it with a bunch of, you know, white, delicious rice because I didn't have any brown stuff. So that was nice. You know, how did this go, Betsy?
Yeah, we liked this. And this kind of reminded me. So this recipe reminded me of the fact that I needed to make more curries this year, which is kind of a nice, easy-ish way to get a flavorful meal on the table.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that I kind of overlook or I kind of forget to do. So I thought this was a good, you know, just a good reminder to do that. I got more flavorful curry powder.
Oh,
so
good.
That helped because I knew that was going to be an issue. I thought this was easy. It's not, it was a little different than other curries that we've made because you kind of finish it in the oven like that.
Yeah, the braising I actually kind of liked because you can kind of, it felt like more like you could just kind of walk away from it.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I kind of liked that too. I was a little bit surprised by that, and I thought that was a little bit different than anything we had done before. And then it's in the oven, and my rice was kind of cooking on the stovetop, and then I had a good 20 minutes to kind of not be hands-on. So that was good. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You know, I think honestly, you can make this even easier if you used boneless, skinless chicken thighs. Like I feel like the browning, while it was nice and who doesn't like a crispy chicken skin?
Yeah.
You know, I was like, at the end of the day, it probably would have been fine. Or if you're not a thigh person, you could definitely do chicken breast in here. You just need to make sure that you're really watching the time. You mean you don't need to cook it as long at all. You know, again, use your meat thermometer. You know, I was thinking actually too, this would not be bad with thick slices of tofu.
Oh.
That you like brown up.
Yeah.
And then
I
you
like
make
that
into
idea.
Curry or like, you know, cubes of tofu. I was like, oh, this would be really nice with that. So I kind of want to try that idea. I think this came together really quickly.
Yeah.
I remember looking at the time because I usually try to see, like, is this a longer recipe? Is this a shorter? And I looked at the time. I was like, oh, okay, great. I have much more time than I thought I would.
Yeah. And I am kind of liking, well, as people know, I'm still working through my backlog of, coconut milk in my pantry. I shared that on the Facebook group.
How many cans are you down to?
I think I might have 4 left now. Okay. So I've really made reasonable. Yeah. And, but I have to say, I like the can of coconut milk. I just like these flavors. I like the flavors. I need to make this kind of dish more often. So I was happy to have it on this week. Yeah. All right.
So for me, this is a high 4 out of 5. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm giving it a high 4 out of 5 too, because it was really, other than the chicken, also very pantry friendly. So I liked that.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, wrapping it up here today, we've got turkey spinach sliders from Epicurious. Kate, how do we do this?
Okay, so sliders, are like the mini burgers is what these suckers are, which I thought would be really fun and cute for kids, and also like just anybody who doesn't like a mini thing. I don't know. So, and then it's got spinach in it, right? So nutrition. And these came together pretty quickly for me, which was also nice. You just mix together a pound of ground turkey, some chopped fresh spinach, cumin, garlic, some sliced scallions, like green onions, salt and pepper. And then you form them into 12 little patties, which I just kind of pretended I was making meatballs and squished them. Fry them on the stovetop for 5 minutes aside and serve with mayo on little slider buns. And they were pretty cute and pretty darn tasty. So what did your family think, Betsy, of green? They did look green, though. I will say that. So I'm curious, what did they think of the green burgers?
They did. Yeah, mine were pretty green as well, but I got Hawaiian rolls for these. Ooh. Right? Which I feel like makes everyone a little bit happier. And they didn't taste super spinachy. No. Yeah, they have the green look, so it depends on, I guess, whether or not your kids can get past that. Mm-hmm. That might be an issue, but mine were mostly fine with that. I mean, they liked a burger. Yeah. They like a Hawaiian roll.
I mean, that was an expert move right there.
Right?
Hawaiian roll, anybody? Ooh.
Yeah. And then I just made some frozen French fries with these. So it was very kind of, again, fun feeling. I think the whole episode kind of was like, everything felt a little fun.
Yeah.
So that was great. I always think that I didn't on this one because we didn't have enough left, but this would have been a good leftover lunchbox meal.
I think so too. I was thinking, actually what I did is I had made mine all on a big sheet of cling wrap, and then I only made 4 sliders because James wasn't around, and I was like, I don't want all these sliders. And then I froze, what am I going to do with all these, right?
Yeah, right.
Slider party. And then, so I took the cling wrap and I slid it onto a sheet tray and froze the rest of the burgers. Oh, but honestly, right, flash froze them individually and then piled them in a Ziploc bag. But I got to tell you, I'm a little upset I did this because then James didn't have a dinner tonight that he went to. And he was like, do I have any food? And I was like, I could have made those sliders and I could have had them for lunch. So I don't know why I didn't just make 12 spinach sliders because I would have eaten them all week.
And they're the turkey spinach too. I mean, that's these went really fast in my family. I feel like Ryan ate, I don't know, we maybe ate more than we should have all at dinner. I don't, when you're realizing you're like, ooh, we ate all of those. But maybe this would be a good doubling recipe too. Like what you said with the freezing. You could double this and then have them in the freezer. And
they were just really fun, really cute. And I think if your kids or you don't have any problem with green in a food, these were really good. For me, I'm close to giving these a 5 because it was a pretty perfect dinner for me.
I'm kind of with you on this, Kate. And I love how they felt healthy and how they felt like you were getting both the spinach and the turkey. And then I was kind of like, well, I'm done for the night. I don't need to.
Green smoothies. Who needs those?
Right? I've got this slider. Right. So that was great. And it also did.
In a Hawaiian roll with mayo.
Right. Well, yes.
That's fine.
It's
fine. It's all balance is what it is.
So yeah, I also really like these. And if I were a person who batch made things, this would be on my list.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we're going to talk about our winner. Mm-hmm. I think mine was the turkey spinach sliders. I didn't predict it. I just kind of thought that'd be a fun one, but there you go. That was my fave.
I'm going with the sheet pan nacho hash brown taco crazy situation.
Extravaganza.
Because it was really fun and we'll probably do it again. And it was fun.
Yeah.
It was what we needed.
Yeah.
Lighten things up a little bit.
Well, if any of these recipes sound good to you, make sure to check out our show notes at dinnersisters.com. There you'll find links to all the recipes, all the tips and techniques we talked about, as well as a list to a shopping list spreadsheet. If you'd like to chat more with us, you can always ask to join our Dinner Sisters Facebook group. We are on there all the time, and recently people have been giving advice about air fryers and recipes. It's super fun. So you can find us there at Dinner Sisters Podcast.
All right, Kate, we'll be back after the break. Okay, so this week on the smorgasbord, I thought maybe we should talk about some lunchbox tips.
Yeah, so even if you're not going back to school, like I know we're not, we're a little too old for that. I do feel, like we said before, fall, September, that August time just feels like a change, like a fresh start. Like you're like thinking, maybe I should pack my lunch all the time. Like save some money, right? Or
let's
eat a
do
little
it.
healthier. Let's do this. So you actually, Betsy, and what made me think of this, and we talked about this, is you had a bit of a breakthrough with packed lunches.
I did, and you know what? We're like 3 weeks into school, so who knows how long this is going to last. However, I did get these little Sistema. We've talked about these before on the podcast. The Sistema packing.
Love that brand.
Plastic. Yeah, they're I don't know, lunch containers. What would you call those? Like reusable lunch?
Like little lunch boxes, essentially.
Yeah. So I got one that has kind of sort of 2 portions, just at Home Goods, and I have been putting in leftovers for my kids, sort of when I'm packing up dinner. Like for the curry chicken, I took a little bit of chicken off the bone and put it in one side with some rice, and then on the other side, I put some grapes, and then I clicked the top shut and. The next morning I put that in the lunchbox. And I have been doing that, almost every night with just the leftovers. And I'll tell you, this is because I've been volunteering a lot in the cafeteria at our school because we are, we're composting in our cafeteria. It's a big thing. It's very exciting. It's our 2nd year. So I have been volunteering and I've been noticing all these other kids who have these amazing looking lunches. And then I realized the amazing looking lunches are because they are packing leftovers.
Yeah.
I'm like, look at that kid with his rice and his chicken and everything else. And I thought, my kids could be taking all sorts of leftovers for their lunch. And they've been really enjoying it as well. And it's been making my lunch packing so much easier. I've not made a sandwich yet this year.
Wow. Well, that in and of itself is amazing. And I think what is so good about what you're doing in terms of like, it is just part of packing up dinner. So this is not like a separate thing. You're not like making separate bento boxes. This is just like part of the routine and almost like simplifies the whole thing. So I think that was really smart. I think the leftovers are really smart. And I think it's really smart to like pair it, as our like hero Gretchen Rubin would say, pair the putting away the dinner with packing the lunch boxes, doing the same thing, and you're good to go.
Yeah. Okay. What is your tip? Or what are you thinking about?
Yeah. So mine is to actually think about your future self. So right now things seem great. I always get, for me, right? It's fall. Oh, I'm going to start new things. I'm going to start packing my lunch, and my lunch is going to be filled with just vegetables and lean protein, right?
And like turkey spinach sliders.
Turkey spinach sliders.
Without the Hawaiian roll.
Without the Hawaiian roll. And here we go. It's right. And then October comes, and I'm back eating at that falafel place again, which is delicious. But like, I can do better, right? So I'm going to try to take advantage of the energy, and instead of like thinking I'm just going to do these amazing lunches every day, I'm going to like try to take advantage and do some things ahead of time. So I've been thinking like maybe this weekend I'll make some bean burritos and freeze them using those Cuban style black beans that I still have in the freezer. Cause true confessions, I thought I didn't have any black beans a couple weeks ago. And so I made another batch.
Oh my gosh.
We had so many black beans. So I'm going to make, it's like I should maybe make some burritos. So I'll make some burritos with those. And then I'm also going to get a pack of that naan and some barbecue sauce for a couple quick barbecue naan pizzas. Remember those?
Kate, I was thinking about those today while I was walking the dogs. Yes. And I was like, I need to make those again because they're so easy. Yes. Yeah.
And I was like, if I've got naan in the freezer, I can take a quick trip and grab a rotisserie chicken and a bag of cheese. Or, well, let's be truthful. I always have a bag of cheese in the cooler.
I was going to say, are you going to need to pick up that bag of cheese, Kate?
No, I'm not. It's in there.
Yeah.
It's in there. As James says, he's like, I like how we always have cheese. I'm like, you're welcome for living with someone from Wisconsin. We always have cheese and we always have mustard. So yeah, I was like, so bean burritos, have the naan bread. I was like, that's how I'm going to use some of this like new fall energy, not to grind myself down packing healthy bento boxes every day, but to like channel that energy into making some burritos so I can like pull them from the freezer when I'm feeling really busy and not have to, waste my time and money.
Yeah. I like that.
But you also said you might do some baking.
Yeah, I did. And this tip comes from our mom because we were on a family group thread. We were just talking about like healthy snacks and healthy after school snacks and lunchbox snacks and things like that. And she suggested a bran muffin, Kate, which.
Love a bran muffin.
I know. I
feel like no one makes them now, but you should. You should make bran muffins.
Yeah,
they're delicious.
Yeah, exactly. And so I thought I could definitely, that would be something I would feel good about packing in a school lunch or having, for breakfast, things like that. That's a very feel-good, baked good for kicking off the new school year. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I love those. I also feel like they're heartier than your normal muffin. Like a blueberry muffin goes stale in like 2 days. A bran muffin, keep that sucker around. Yeah. But if all like, so there's like the all bran, the cereal recipe, which I think is really good. And that's like a classic. There's also like a Smitten Kitchen one, her Blue Sky bran muffins that have the fruit.
Yes. I've made those. You told me about those pre-podcast and I've made them a couple of times and they're so delicious.
That was one of those I like forced you to make, I think. And then you're like, these are really good. They're a little more involved, I think, than the all brand, but they're still super good. And now is a great time of year to use because they use little pockets of fruit. So yeah, like you said, we'll link to that.
Yeah. All right, Kate. So coming up next week, we have a cookbook review. We are going to review Molly on the Range with our friend Tara. We're so excited because these are some of our favorite episodes.
Yeah, I am really looking forward to talking with Tara again about the book. She always goes all in. So it's so fun to talk to her about the cookbook and hear what you guys have been cooking about.
Yeah, I know. It'll be fun. And I've seen on Instagram that she's already baking and cooking away. So
she's so good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Get it together, Betsy.
I know. All right. So that's what's for dinner this week. See you next time on The Dinner Sisters. We'll save a spot at the table for you.
Would you like a little dinner in your inbox every week? Subscribe to our newsletter by going to our website at dinnersisters.com for show notes, grocery lists, and other fun stuff. If you've got some dinner ideas, let us know. Shoot us an email at dinnersisterspodcast@gmail.com, or you can find us on Facebook or Instagram at Dinner Sisters Podcast. On Twitter, we're Dinner Sisters 36. Lastly, as per usual, if you like what we're hearing, please review and subscribe. That's how people get to know us. Thanks and happy eating.